We're back. This is Spencer McGreal reading Chapter 14 from Colin Flaherty's White Girl Bleeds a Lot, Confessions from a News Desk, Part 2. The education of a liberal or Minneapolis is a hot racial mess. What? That's such a weird chapter title. Colin. All right. When John Williams John Williams. When John Williams, afternoon drive host at CBS radio affiliate in Minneapolis, read my WND WorldNetDaily.com story about the epidemic of racial violence in Minneapolis, he was curious but unconvinced at first. Williams went through the story with your humble correspondent, which is available by podcast online. You do not live in Minneapolis, correct? He asked to start off the interview. I had to confess I did not, but I reminded him that I had written a book about the return of racial violence and how the media ignored it, and wrote a piece about it for WND, WorldNet Daily. I should look to see if WorldNet Daily is still around. Excuse me. I proceeded to give him some time, dates, and places of 15 to 20 examples of horrific racial violence in Minneapolis, where large groups of black people roam the streets of downtown, beating, stealing, vandalizing, and hurting people. That was June 2012. I told him how the press in Minneapolis ignored the facts that all members of all the violent mobs were black. You're saying the mainstream media is ignoring them? Then how would you have known about them if the mainstream media did not report them? He asked. He thought he had me. They did not report the repeated episodes. The fact that all the mobs were black and that it was happening all over the country, I told him. It's called connecting the dots. I did my research. It's not that hard, but you have to be willing to look. The criminals may have been black, Williams conceded, but he did not buy, quote unquote, the fact that they had racial motives for the attacks. It's always something. Which was okay because it was that's not what I was selling. The perpetrators of these crimes were black. I did not attempt to read their minds, go figure out what they did, why they did it, I said. Good. I went on like that for a while, with William remaining polite but doing the usual media dance, denying the issue existed, while simultaneously explaining why it existed, or why it was difficult for him to acknowledge it. He concluded that black mob violence is just some kind of statistical fluke, a mystery of nature, and that it was. And see, if you watch my old videos, you know that's not true. And because we know, different double alleles cause, what was that? What was they called? I'll look up the video, but different double alleles cause blacks to be more violent or have less, lower overall heart rates, so it means that when they engage in more violent attacks or more criminal activity, their heart rate doesn't increase that much. There's a lot of data that shows that it's more that, it's not just skin color, right? And my part of the show is over. After the break, callers jammed the lines with their own experiences of racial violence in downtown Minneapolis. The first caller was from a woman whose son was beaten by a black mob. After hearing the host and me talk about the serious injuries and police indifference, the woman was convinced we had been talking about her son's experience. We had not. Her son was a different case, and even a more serious case. That's terrible. My son was assaulted in Minneapolis back in June 2010. It was an unprovoked attack, said Henley. A group of males approached him. Hey, my fellow niggas, what's up? One broke out of the group and punched him in the jaw and double fractured his jaw. We filed a police report. It was very traumatic because I could not get the police department to help me with anything. No, you're white. Fuck you. After 6 hours of surgery for a compound fracture to the jaw, Henley set out to find the criminals, and nobody did anything about it, she said. They would not look at security cameras, videotapes. They would not help her look at it. It's Chinatown, ma'am. They don't care. I get flamed up just thinking about it. They basically told me they had a bigger fish to fry. This is what you get. How'd everything work out for you, integrationists? The Williams facade is cracking. It seems to me that there is not race-based, but it happens to be racial, Williams said, whatever that means. Oh my God. Whatever you need to tell yourself, Mr. Williams, to help you sleep better at night. Live in your fantasy world. God, this pisses me off. His producer tried to buckle him up. Race had nothing to do with anything. Oh, buck him up, excuse me. Buck him up. Race had nothing to do with anything. That was too much for even Williams. When you are downtown and you see a group of kids descending on you and you are white, do you not feel a little more vulnerable because of the color of your skin, said Williams. No, said the producer. That was a bit much even for Williams. Well, I do. And I think it's a terrible thing for me to say. Poor baby. If Williams' door was cracking open, the next caller would give it another nudge. First up, a black mob beat up a young soldier just back from Afghanistan. It does seem to be an epidemic, said the caller. The black man from Minneapolis talked about how your humble correspondent was correct in his reporting, and how these kids are an embarrassment, and they are an embarrassment to our race. It just makes me sick. Creak! The door opens wider. I feel a little odd right now, confessed Williams, about something, about some of the things I've said. But it's just because I've observed this scene, and that is just because what it either looks like or to a white guy it feels like. The caller told the story of a group of black people just a few weeks earlier who tried to stop a white kid on his bike. He did not stop, and they shouted at him, and they killed him. Williams undauntedly pressed on. It just depends on the scene. If there was a case and the kid on the bicycle were black, I'm still willing to think they just would have still shot and killed him. Okay, I guess. Then came a regular listener to the John Williams Show, who had won a few tickets on the station to a Timberwolves game in downtown Minneapolis. The caller gave the tickets to his son. After the game, the caller's son and his friends were set upon by a black mob who taunted, beat them, and hurled racial epithets at them, as well as rocks. The caller told us as they were leaving, they held up a gun and said, "White boy, you are lucky." Williams' explanations became less and less convincing, even to himself. This poor guy. When he woke up that morning and put his pants on, he did not expect this to happen. He started disagreeing with things that I've never said or wrote. The straw man, where are they? They must defend me. Finally, the segment ended, and Williams summed it up. This is a gut check for you. He just slumps in his chair like, oh my God, I can't. My career is over. Of course, the next few weeks, there were several more shootings, lots of fights, lots of mayhem, all in downtown Minneapolis. I hereby swear I had nothing to do with them. And you know what, Colin Flaherty, I don't think you did. I think we know who had what to do with who. All right, that's all for today. Spencer McGreal, I'll see you next time with New York, Chapter 15. Bye.